episode number 18 of the Pound for Pound show. Had a bunch of great fights this last weekend. I am Philip, and joining me as always are Russ and Ben. How you guys doing?
Great. Good.
Good stuff. Well, yeah, lots of fights last weekend. Some more fights this upcoming weekend. It was a pretty big weekend, so let's get into it. So, first fight we'll talk about was the big title versus title fight. Well, it wasn't really title versus title. It was champion versus champion for the 205 title. Jan Blachowicz giving Izzy his first loss in the UFC and his first loss in MMA. So I'll turn it over, Russ. I'll throw it to you first, and then you kick it over to Ben. Kind of let us know what you saw in the fight and how you enjoyed it.
I liked the fight. I mean, I thought it would be a little more explosive. I thought maybe we'd see a finish. Izzy came into it with all the hype. Andy was the favorite, and everybody thought like it was just a done deal, pretty much. Outside of you, Phil, you were behind Jan for sure, but a lot of people thought it was a done deal that Izzy was just going to move up and take that title and eventually work his way to Jones. But there's weight classes for a reason, and we've seen that 20-pound jump is a lot. His size started to wear on him, and he used his wrestling in the later rounds, and won those rounds. I think it was close for the first couple, but just for whatever reason, Izzy was hesitant to pull the trigger on a lot of stuff, and then the weight was a difference, and Jan got it done. I mean,
yeah,
extremely impressive victory by him. I mean, I don't think too many people thought he was going to pull that off.
Yeah, I agree with you, Russ. Jan looked great. He used that size advantage to his advantage. When Izzy opened up, he just took it to the ground, and the size was the major difference, I guess you could say. Like there are no wrestlers in the middleweight division that can really do that to Izzy. But I guess the weight was the difference, and Jan just laid on him kinda and wrestled him, and it was an impressive performance. So
it kind of showed you that like Izzy can compete at 205. Like, some middleweights can. Like, it wasn't like a blowout by any means, but it just showed you that like that there's weight classes for a reason. Like, it's just too much. I mean, like, and to call out Jones, the greatest 205 of all time, just put that crap to bed. That, if he can't beat Jan, what do you think Jones is going to do to him? It just is, that fight's gone, go back to middleweight and dominate. I mean, I respect the balls to make the move, but
yeah, it takes big balls to move up in weight and go for that second belt. So
yeah, 20 pounds for sure. That's rough. I mean, Jones moving up to heavyweight takes those balls, that's a huge weight gain.
And he's only 31. So he could just do it again in the future. Give it a few years, put on more weight naturally, and just let your body grow. And then he might do it in the future, but props to Jan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I thought Jan was super impressive. I was impressed with how competitive he was in the striking game. It was a lot of the narrative going in is that Izzy was just going to pick him apart, and Jan just had to land one big shot. And I thought he looked pretty good on his feet. I know that definitely it was a factor. And I know, we had the luxury of watching the fight together. And like, to Russ's point, Izzy really wasn't opening up. But I think, Izzy has an incredibly high fight IQ. And he kind of knew, he's like, well, when I open up, this guy's going to have a better chance to get me on the ground. And if he does, it's going to be a problem. And that's exactly what proved to be the case. Because I remember when we were watching, I don't remember who said it, but one of you guys was like, oh, Izzy's finally starting to open up. And about 45 seconds later, he was on his back. And it was, he had just no answers for a guy that was that big. So,
he just couldn't get up,
Yeah.
It's just too much weight.
Right. So, yeah. So I guess, with that one, I can't really ask, really what's next. For it seems like Jan's next fight is pretty much determined. It's going to be Glover Teixeira. Looks like it's going to be a little further down the road because Jan had said he wanted a bit of a break, which is probably fair. Obviously he's trying to put some more age on Glover before he gets in there, but so that'll be interesting. And then, Izzy's going to move back to 185. I guess my question for you guys is, do you think that really the next couple of people that get in there with Izzy are, even if they're don't have a great wrestling pedigree, because to Ben's point, that division isn't known for having like a bunch of stacked wrestlers at the top of the division. Do you think that guys are going to see that and think that like, man, I'm just going to work my wrestling and my takedowns this entire camp because that's the ticket to getting past Izzy?
Yeah.
You'll see some dudes work that in, and also just that aura of invincibility, is gone. Like, I mean, even though I know he lost like in his early like kickboxing days and stuff, but he still had like an aura about him in UFC where he was just untouchable. And once you lose that, a lot of people like they won't be as hesitant to pull the trigger on him. You know what I mean? Like Costa, who looked scared from the first minute. People will be more, just urgent with him. Probably pressure him a lot more.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, he's got some new challenges at Vittori, Till, Holland, Whitaker again.
Yeah,
Whitaker again. And we'll see what their game plan is. But I don't think it's the right move to strike with him. We've seen that. Well, I don't think that's the right move. I think you got to really come up with a different game plan. And Jan had the perfect game plan.
Right. Yeah, I think you guys are right. It'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I certainly think that anyone who, to Russ's point, I think that, that aura might be gone a little bit. But and again, I'm not the biggest Izzy fan in the world, but I think that, probably the next person he fight, if they go in there thinking that he's lost a step, is going to end up looking at the lights pretty quickly because he's still an incredibly dangerous dude. But it'll be interesting to see how these people game plan for him and who he gets next. If he gets the winner of Costa Whitaker, or how that goes, we'll have to wait and see who he gets next.
Yeah. And it wasn't a blowout. So, I still think if they book that fight 10 times, it might go like 5-5. It's just who's having a good night. That might've just been Izzy's bad day at the office. It happens. It just happened to be at a bad night and Jan was good. So these things happen. I don't take much away from Izzy. He's still the man. He's going to tear some dudes up at 185. Just 205 might not be for him.
Yeah. It's just interesting when someone, especially when they lose for the first time, and it seems like, because, and I could be mistaken, I don't recall anyone who fought Izzy in the past even really trying to work the wrestling that much. So it's going to be interesting to see if like dudes are just like, old school, Team Hammer House, like diving from 10 feet away, trying to grab your ankles to get you to the ground. Cause they're like, that's obviously the move. So we'll have to see how it, and if he does go to the ground with a guy that's his size, how he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of fun things coming up, but I think, again, overall, not that you want to say you're happy someone lost, but I think that it gets Izzy back in the middleweight division. So it's not going to hold that division up and it doesn't cause a bunch of chaos in two divisions. So I think overall it's going to keep things moving in both divisions. And I'm interested to see what's next for both guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So move on to the second of the three title fights is the Amanda Nunes Megan Anderson fight. Went about how everyone expected. When you're a 7-1 favorite to a 10-1 favorite, there's a reason. And if you watch the fight, you saw exactly why. It's, I won't steal your thunder. I'll let you guys talk about it. Ben, you let us know what you saw and then throw it over to Russ.
Yeah, she's the GOAT. And if the best version of Nunes showed up, that's what's going to happen every time against pretty much any woman fighter. Like she's just that good. She's miles above everyone. And the best Megan Anderson had to show up that night. And she I don't take nothing away from Megan. You just can't beat Nunes. It's just as simple as that.
Even that I don't think would matter. Like if I don't think the worst Amanda Nunes shows up and loses to the best Megan Anderson. We've seen like a very bad Nunes show up in fights before where she had like just brutal weight cuts and she said she was feeling like garbage the day of the fight and she still has managed to find a way to win. She's just many, many levels above every female except for the one fight that is of interest to anybody, and that's Shevchenko. Yeah. But there's still the size difference. But if there's one person that could do it, it's Shevchenko.
I agree.
But she's got to come back down to 135 and
Shevchenko's got to go up.
But yeah, it's just comedic at this point. She cracked Megan one time and Megan was like ready to shoot for a takedown of all things. Like how insane do you have to be against a black belt? And then
did you guys see Megan
submitted her out of mercy?
Did you guys see Megan coming into the arena, that video? Like there's a video of her walking into the arena, arriving, and the look on her face was just fear. You could read it from a mile away. And
yeah, I mean, that's the aura we were just talking about. Amanda has it, man, over every girl because she's just so dominant. But
yeah, people get, and it's tough because you want to see that. But yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't see that video, but and they even mentioned it. And again, I don't want to assume that anyone is afraid of another fighter, but yeah, she almost had that like deer in headlights look. She's 20 seconds into the fight, kind of like oh shit, what did I get myself into? Kind of like, I don't know what's going to happen. And Amanda cracked her one time, and, then she's like, I got to get this to the ground. And it was a wrap from there because, she had her in like this crazy triangle armbar. She could have choked her out. She could have armbarred her. It was just a bad situation. It just, so like I said, she was, props to her for getting in there, but yeah, she was outclassed from the minute it started. And it's interesting. I actually read that was the last fight under contract, and she was 3-3 in the UFC. So it'll be interesting to see if she's back. So especially, they talk more and more about, are they even going to continue the 145-pound division? If there's no 140, Megan Anderson at 6 feet tall isn't making 135. So
they might do away with it and just have Amanda hold the title, and then, maybe bring in like somebody from another company here and there. But there's just nobody there. There's no reason to keep her. That division is nothing.
There's not a lot going on in that division, and not a lot of fights up there, to even like bring on the next contenders, unless they've got like a crop of younger fighters that we're not aware of at a 145. But then even outside of UFC, there just aren't a lot of exciting fights for, that I can think of off the top of my head at 145 for her. So
yeah, agreed.
And then we can get into the last and probably the most interesting of the three fights to talk about. Peter Yan, Aljamain Sterling. Obviously a controversial ending. A lot of different things happened. A lot to say about this fight. So Russ, I'll let you start off and then pass it over to Ben, and let's go.
It was a pretty close fight for the first couple rounds, and we've seen Peter Yan turn it on like very much, starting probably in like the third round. Aljo started to get desperate. He was throwing tons of spinning stuff, and just he looked like he was gassing pretty hard and just getting very desperate with his moves he was trying. And Peter was getting better. He's getting more accurate, and just he was turning on. It was very clear the way the fight was going, where momentum was going, and how it was going to go. But he landed. It was a very clear illegal knee. So like, you can't say that. And even though Aljo was on the ground, and you can say he was acting or selling it, which, to an extent maybe, but like, he couldn't continue. That knee was so violent. He had a concussion. If he continued, he was going to sleep a minute later. But, I bet on Aljo, so I feel very lucky to get that win. But I also know that like in the rematch, who I'll be betting on, because I seen how the fight went and I know how it's going to play out now. Yan is the better fighter, and it's a shame to lose the title like that. That's the first time in history. I didn't realize that a title had changed hands like that. Like I think the only really other time was the time with Anthony Smith, but he decided to continue against Jones. And but he could have been a champion as well if he took that way. But
that's true.
It was an illegal knee. You can't argue that. And it was extremely violent. It connected super tough. Like, you have to believe he was concussed,
I believe they did a hospital test later that showed he was not.
That's amazing. I mean, when Poirier took that illegal knee from Eddie, he said on the Rogan podcast that was the most violent shot of his career. He said
wow,
he was like, he couldn't like look into like light for like multiple days. He said he was messed up. So I think that's a violent blow, but it's just a shame to lose the title that way.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, Russ. Yan was taking over that fight. He was going to win the fight if that did not happen. And yes, that was an illegal knee that needs to stop the fight, at least temporarily, and give him the moment to say whether he can continue or not. I think he was acting. I think he could have continued. We've seen plenty of fighters get knocked out, and that is not how they react, is to lay there. Ben Askren recovered faster than that when he got slept by Masvidal. It was just unnatural looking. I think Aljo could have continued, but that's just me. Phil, what do you think?
Yeah, it's tough because, I obviously, I bet on Yan. I was pretty confident Yan would win, and I was very pleased to see where it was going. But, to rewind, I was very impressed with Aljo in the first two rounds. Like, he came out and he was taking it to Peter Yan on the feet, and that I did not expect. I was very surprised. So, like, his performance for the first couple rounds of the fight, I was very impressed. But, Russ nailed it exactly. Like, Peter Yan was taking over, and not only was he going to win that fight, like Aljo wasn't making it to the end of that fight. He probably wasn't making it to the end of that round. He was extremely gassed. He was trying to throw some desperate spinning elbows, and he was so gassed he couldn't even spin around. He kept like going back first into Yan. So you couldn't even get 360 degrees, and Yan was starting to land some pretty heavy shots. I guess the way I have to look at it is, I guess it isn't relevant if he could continue or not, because the knee was as illegal as it gets. So it is what it is. You did the crime, you had to pay for it. Peter Yan came out and he's like, yeah, I was an illegal knee. I paid the price. What am I going to do? No excuses. It did seem a little sketchy. And the thing that I said, there's a lot to talk about, a lot of fighters weighed in, and it was, there were quite a few people who were very much on Aljo's side, and people who were very much on the other side as well. A lot of different points were made, and I guess you could debate back and forth if he was acting or not. But I guess at the end of the day, illegal is illegal. And one of the points I guess, you have to make is whether I feel he was acting or not, in those types of situations where a guy could have been concussion based, it could have been something, you can't leave that decision up to the fighter, because a guy, some guys could have a concussion, and how tough are some fighters? They're going to be like, yeah, let's go. And they're going to stagger out there with CTE and get cracked again, So, I think that I'm not a doctor, but the doctor, I think that it was probably handled wrong, because, you can't go in there and, hey, are you good to continue? And again, like, yeah, it did look silly how he kept getting up and then in like a very dramatic way, like falling down with his arms out and everything. The doctor needs to walk in the ring, evaluate the fighter, and be like, like in boxing, be like, yeah, this guy, he's reacting when he's good to go, or he's not, and it can't really be just, dependent on like the integrity of the fighter or the fighter's willingness to continue. Because, we've seen fighters, again, you referenced Anthony Smith, who's probably too tough for his own good, go out there when maybe he wasn't physically in condition to do so. And then, we've seen guys like Chris Weidman's and Josh Koscheck's of the world who like clearly took a dive to try to win a fight where they didn't even get hit, so it's, I think, like looking back at it, it's not relevant, because you have to, it just has to be a decision that's made by the medical staff and the doctors, because that's what they get paid to do.
There would be less controversy if the ref would have waved it off almost immediately. It was such a clear illegal strike, you know what I mean? Right. So then you don't have Aljo, doing that show for like 3 or 4 minutes. And also post-fight, just take him straight to the hospital. Don't have him go there and do an interview where he seemed pretty clear-headed after,
agreed.
A minute after selling it that much. And then, on his account and his fight team's account, don't post a bunch of pictures of you guys partying with the belt and like staring off with Cejudo, like you want to fight him next. Like, what do you do? It's just, it looks bad, like, I mean,
it did.
You want to be on Aljo's side, but it was like almost like a double turn. Like Yan went into it like the heel and Aljo the face. And like, now it's the complete opposite. Like, who's not going to root for Yan in the rematch?
Right. Yeah, Aljo starts off by saying, no, I don't want this belt. He throws it down. Later on, we see him partying with it, like holding it up, like.
Yeah, celebrating like he actually won the title. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
What can you do? Nothing.
If it would have been handled differently, it would not be like this, but it was. So now like everybody's like up in arms over the
They'll fight again and solve it.
Yeah, hopefully it's an instant run it back. We really got to hope for that.
Yeah, it sounds like that's the move that they're already discussing, and I think that's what has to happen. And I think that justice will be served in the second fight. But yeah, all in all, like like you said, at every level, like Yan handled it wrong by throwing the strike. Aljo handled it wrong pretty much from start to finish. The refs and the doctors handled it wrong. It was just it's an unfortunate incident, which actually takes away from what was a pretty good fight. It was a pretty entertaining fight. It was definitely, super action packed for the most part. And yeah, I just, we'll have to see it again. So, and then, you have to kind of feel, you have to feel bad for Yan, because, they released those videos of like, his corner clearly giving him direction, and come on, like, you guys got to know the rules. Like what happened?
Yeah. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah,
Such a strange fight, strange
yeah,
ending.
it was interesting because again, yeah, we're relying on what the translator said, but it seemed like when he landed the strike, like one coach was like celebrating like he just won the fight, and the other coach was like, no, because he
Yeah.
knew like that was not okay, and he knew what the result was going to be. So
Yeah.
but yeah, all in all, like it's pretty disappointed with Aljo's actions, but they'll run it back and we'll see what happens. And as long as it's as exciting of a fight as the last one, I'm good with it. So
Exactly.
Oh, and
same.
there's an added storyline. The rematch is a money fight now.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
it
would
is.
think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
You would think so for sure. But it's it's tough for some of the other contenders who have to sit by and wait their turn. I know a lot of people were excited to see Sandhagen fight the winner of that fight, but
Yes, I was. But
he's probably going to get Dillashaw now. So
yep,
which I mean, that all in all, that should be a real fun fight as well. So
for sure.
I don't
Great
have
fight.
I don't have any qualms with having to watch those two fight to take a number one contenders fight to fight who's next in this one. So
Yep.
cool. And I guess real quick, we should probably just touch on Islam. He came out and he wrecked Drew Dober pretty violently. He's been getting a ton of hype. A lot of people, are already saying he's the future of that 155-pound division, which is pretty stacked. So, quickly, just give me your thoughts. Ben, how'd you feel about that one?
Yeah, he looked great. I mean, he's the new Khabib. Very similar style to Khabib, and he's going to be a threat to everyone in that division for a while. So we'll see where he goes. He might fight Tony Ferguson next, and that's who he's calling out. So we'll see. What do you think, Russ?
Yeah, it seems like it's a matter of time, like he's got Habib coaching him. He comes from that same region where they just, rape people on the ground when they wrestle them down. And so I don't see how it's going to be any different. I hope not, because I don't want to see another run of Habib style at 155 where they just dominate the division when there's so many fun strikers in there. But he looked really good. You can take nothing away from him. Yep. Really good.
Yeah, he was very dominant. It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure he'll have a tough time getting some top 5 fights because I don't know that people are going to be lining up to sign on to fight him. I must confess, I thought it was a punk ass move calling out Tony Ferguson because Tony's on a losing streak, and I don't think he was the guy to call out, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, be interesting to see how he does when he starts getting in there. Because again, not that Drew Dober is not a good fighter, but he definitely is in a top 5 or top 10 names. We'll have to, before we crown Islam the new Khabib, we'll have to see how he does against these top tier guys. Because I remember it was a similar story when Khabib was like, we're like, no, once he fights this guy, there's no way. There's no way he dominates this guy. And well, here we are. And dominated all of them. So
yeah,
you said it and you were wrong at one point. So
exactly.
We'll have to see if Makhachev is that dominant on the ground. So all in all, a fairly fun card. I don't know, it's tough when you've got 3 title fights to deliver at that level because with that comes such expectation. And so, but overall it was a fun card. Definitely not a total disappointment. So
agreed. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun night of fights.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
I liked it. Good
stuff. Well, real quick, we'll touch base on the main event of the upcoming fights this weekend, and then we'll do some best bets, and then we'll pay our debts from the bets that we won and lost this last week. We'll get to the good stuff.
Oh boy.
So, the debut of the wheel is coming.
What a shame.
So yeah. So a little salty about that because I lost a bet on a technicality, but what are you gonna do? So
what can you do?
Cool. Well, yeah, we'll just quickly touch base. I know there's not a lot of big names on this upcoming card this weekend, but the long-awaited return of Leon Edwards. I think the last time he fought, Don Fry was in the main event.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've seen Leon, but he's coming back. A lot of opinions out there about his opponent. Either way, props to Muhammad to taking this fight on short notice. But I know a lot of people want to see Leon fight like a much higher ranked guy, and was not to be for assorted reasons, as we've discussed in the past. So, Russ, what do you like about this fight, and what do you want to see? And then Ben.
I went back and watched some Leon Edwards fights actually today, just so I could refresh like his style and like, the dudes he fought. Cause it has been a long time, and like, he doesn't put on like incredibly exciting fights. So it's kind of, I had forgotten some of them. So I went back and watched him against RDA, and I watched him against Kamaru and against Cowboy. But I think like a lot of people think it's a bad thing, this opponent, Bilal, but it might actually end up being a major positive for him. It's a much less dangerous opponent. You know, he doesn't have to fight Hamzat now. So he can continue his winning ways. He can, you know, knock off some of the ring rust because he's been out forever, and you know, just get a payday. It's almost kind of like boxing where you just fight like a mandatory challenger, get in there, and then you go against like the top dudes. You know, so I think it's a good fight for him. I after refreshing how he fights, he's very technical, you know, great combos, great elbows. You know, I think it's gonna be a pretty fun fight, but I think he's gonna win by decision. Both of them go to a ton of decisions. You know, looking back on their records and stuff, a ton of decisions. He's fought better dudes. He's fought 5-round fights, whereas I don't think Bilal has ever fought a 5-round fight. So I think he's gonna turn it on and just, you know, either win it late or win by decision. That's how I see it going.
Yeah, you made some good points, Russ. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a pretty good matchup for Edwards, unless Bilal gets it on the ground. That's where Edwards, I think, is lacking. He's more of a stand-up, just boxer, straight boxer, even though he has shown some decent wrestling in the past.
Yeah, he took down RDA multiple times. He was out wrestling him.
That is impressive. So he's more well-rounded than I guess I thought. But I think if it goes to the ground, it's Bilal's game, and if Leon can stuff that takedown, it's gonna be a long night for Bilal. But I agree with you. I'm gonna take Edwards by decision. It's good kind of a tune-up, not like elite level, but yeah, good like tune-up fight for him to get to that elite level. What do you think, Phil?
I think you guys covered it pretty well. I think it's really hard to comment on what a guy's going to bring to the table when he's been gone for so long. So it's really tough to analyze how he's going to do. I think I like what Russ said. I think having this much time off and stepping in there against Kamaru or someone like that would be a mistake.
Or Hamzat, you know, like that dude was on fire. Yeah,
that dude. I mean, that might, you know, if he comes out like that, that might be a mistake no matter how many warm-up fights you have, because he was crushing everyone he was in the cage with. And so I hope, you know, sidebar real quick, man, I hope he recovers. It sounds like he's been in pretty rough shape. So I hope he recovers and is able to come back and fight at the level that he was fighting at. Cause it was very exciting to see. He was literally smashed his last opponent in like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. He was tearing people up. I haven't seen that happen in any other sport where COVID has like ended a career. What in the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how he's still that messed up from it, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's why they brought him to the States, to get better treatment, because, you know, where he was at, I guess, you know, maybe he was just like, I'll just stay home and quarantine and get better. And that's apparently not how it goes for everybody. So
man, it's sad.
I just, you know, you hear a lot. And again, I'm not a doctor, as I referenced a few minutes ago. You hear a lot about, you know, like the permanent lung damage it's been causing for people and things like that. And as long as he's been ill, you worry that it's going to have like some serious long-term effects. And he's not, you know, when he's able to come back, he may not be the same. So, you know, we just, you know, obviously we just hope the dude's healthy. That's the most important thing.
Yeah,
No.
Of course.
But anyway, back to Leon, you know, I think that, you know, him coming back and having a fight, and you know, he's minus 260 and he should be a massive favorite, but Bilal isn't like a complete pushover. But I think, you know, Leon does have the advantage pretty much everywhere. You know, I think Leon will probably stop him late in the fight, because I think Leon's got something to prove. You know, I think Leon's probably going to have a chip on his shoulder because Leon feels like a lot of guys are ducking him. Leon feels like the fights he deserved, he didn't get. And he probably kind of has a point, to be fair. So I feel like Leon is going to come out and want to really make a statement, and poor Bilal Muhammad's going to be the guy that has to be in there when he does it. So
yeah,
that's how I feel.
It's a good call, Phil. That could go. It could also.
Also, that was interesting. They both have the exact same record of 18-3.
Wow.
Pretty wild. It's just Leon's fought the better dudes and, you know, bigger fights, but same record. So
yeah,
they're both hot.
Yeah, that's if Bilal's 18-3, that's a pretty wide line for guys with matches.
Yeah, it's just the difference in competition,
right,
and the big fights Leon has taken. You know, it's you know,
true.
Cool. Well, Russ, let's turn it over to the betting line, and why don't you lay it on the line and tell the people how they can make some money this weekend, and let us know what you did last weekend.
We'll recap last week. Last week, we went 2-2 on like the real best bets. We lost the super fun big payday parlay because Megan Anderson had no chance in that fight, but surprisingly won 2 legs of it. You know what I mean? Like if Megan would have pulled the craziness, we could have won a couple grand, but
That's crazy.
Yeah. Won the Cruz Kenny decision. That was absolute lock. Like I really felt like there was no way that wasn't going to decision. It did. It played out as we thought. Lost Thiago Santos and lost the prop by decision. It went to decision, but just the wrong side, close fight. And then won Aljo plus 105. So won a little bit of money on that one. I mean, probably shouldn't even won that, but it did pay. So, and now we got to see it. So now we know where we're going next time. Like we're for sure betting on Peter Yan, and it's going to be a close line again. So make money back the other way.
Yep.
For this next week, I only got 2 because the card is a lot of people not super familiar with, and just like, I'm not betting on a Ben Rothwell fight. That dude's freaking unpredictable. But I'm taking Gloria hold up. Okay, I'm taking Gloria DePaulo versus Jin Frey. Gloria's 25 years old. She's younger. She's got a better record. Jinyu's 35 and just like she's on a 2-fight losing streak, and it's minus 170. So I feel like that's a good line. And then I'm taking Edwards by decision at plus 100. That's an even line rather than lay the big juice. They both go to a decision a ton. So I'm hoping you're wrong, Phil, and Leon doesn't come out there to prove a point and like really pour it on and just does what he usually does, like the 2-punch combos and, pick them apart for a long time. Right. So that's the only 2 I got. And then just going to be gearing up for March Madness here.
Yeah, there you go. There'll be tons of action going on there. Maybe we'll sneak in some bonus March Madness picks.
Oh, yeah. Get you guys some good brackets.
There you go. Yeah, since you've cost them some money on fights, you can make it back for them in college basketball.
Yeah, I mean, it's in 2021. It's been like extremely even. Like it's been like you're probably pretty much paying juice at this point in 2021 because it's 1-1-1 or 2-2 right. Crap like that. Most of the year. I'd like to have like a big winning week at some point.
There you go. Well, you were close with that parlay, so
yeah, two parts of it hit.
Yeah,
I'm guilty hitting the Aljo part, but oh well.
Yeah, you only need one of those to hit every so often for it to work out in your favor. So
for sure. Ask Joe, that's his move.
Yeah,
and those giant parlays.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. So, well, kids, without further ado, it's time. This is what we've all been waiting for. The wheel.
Oh God.
As you can see. So for those of you who don't recall, we discussed, when we are going to bet on these fights, rather than just bet some cash on these fights, we were going to come up with some unique, fun bets to come up with. And as fans of the show will remember, a few weeks back, Russ had to run a mile out in the cold, which I believe it was just over 20 degrees that day. No shirt, no shoes. He's still whining about it. But that's all right. But we're all subject to it. And we figured rather than just have one, what we would do is we would come up with a variety of things. And when you lose a bet, you got to spin the wheel. You spin to win, baby. And so you're going to win yourself some fun stuff. So that's what we're going to do.
There's no winning on this wheel, though. That's the problem.
No, there's not
a lot of pain.
Yeah, it's spin to lose every time. That's all it is. So, but to recap from last week's fights, it's going to be interesting. We all have to spin the wheel this week. So the way that it worked out, the fights, I think Russ was the only one who won on the Jan Aljo fight. Which is criminal. Like I feel bogus that not only that I lost money and I have to spin the wheel based off a fight that Peter Yan was clearly winning. So I'm pretty salty about that. But then clearly the Polish Power got it done in the main event. And I was the only one who had Vukovic. So I will be spinning the wheel. Russ will be spinning the wheel
once.
And old Benny boy over there will be spinning the wheel twice.
Yes.
Yeah, which
Kill
is
me now.
So, and then I'll quickly just kind of cover what's on the wheel for everybody because I know it's kind of hard to see. And then we'll do some spins real quick. A couple items we have on there twice. We came up with 9 unique items, and we have 14 spaces on the wheel. Again, we are always open to it, so anyone watching can drop in the comments some new fun ideas, and we're happy to add most anything in there. We're pretty dumb. We'll do pretty much anything. So we've got a handful of things on there from, the one chip challenge to the durian fruit challenge, which is like the smelliest fruit in the world. I guess it's really challenging to eat. We got a cool fight related one where like if you get it, you have to drop a full weight class in 30 days, which can be a pretty extreme weight cut, especially for a couple of us. We have the cool hand loot challenge, which you have to eat 50 hard boiled eggs. Or die trying,
Yeah.
which might be more accurate. We have the frozen lake challenge, which means you got to jump in the lake. And it's still pretty cold here in Michigan, so it's not quite frozen, but it's gonna get below freezing again. It's Michigan; it always does. Don't you worry about that. We've got 50 hill runs. We have this giant sledding hill not far from us, and you got to run the hill 50 times, which I promise you is no joke. We got eat 100 chicken nuggets in one sitting. That one's going to be brutal as well. We got run 100 miles in 30 days. We've got the marathon miles challenge, which means in one day you got to cover 26.2 miles. You don't have to run the whole thing. You just got to get out there and get 26.2 miles in the course of one day. We've got the cinnamon challenge, which everyone loves so much. We've got 150 miles in 30 days. And then the last one, we have got the mystery shake challenge, which means the loser, if you get that, the other two people get to pick a number of mystery items and put them in a shake, and you have to drink it. That sounds awful.
Yeah, that one's tragic.
Yes. So who wants to go first?
Me.
There you go.
All right. I'm
ripping this Band-Aid off. Let's see what we get.
Oh boy.
Get the wheel on like a nice sturdy thing. And I'm gonna give it a test spin first.
Don't rig this crap up, man. If I get the 50 eggs, we're gonna have issues.
You'll be watching. So I just want to show everyone this is a test spin. This is for no one to see how it spins. So
this is test.
Yeah, that was the test one.
Okay, that doesn't count.
Oh, that was the marathon miles challenge. I'm glad we just used that one up because I didn't want you doing that one.
That
sounds boring.
Good.
No, that's boring.
Roll it with him.
All right, Russ, are you ready?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes. Give it a good spin. Don't screw me over. I don't want the eggs. That's all I don't want. I don't want the cinnamon one either.
Boom. Russ, you can't read it?
No.
The durian fruit challenge.
Okay.
I will show you so you don't
okay.
I've
seen it move.
Okay, yeah, it was absolutely on the durian fruit challenge.
Okay,
so.
I can do that.
Phil, how do you feel about going next?
Durian fruit challenge, baby.
I'm fine with going next. I mean, you can delay it as long as you want. You're not getting out of spinning the wheel. Like you can wait as long as you want. So, all right, this is what I have to do. Again, I would like to state on camera, and I hope someone shows this clip to Aljamain Sterling. This is your fault. Like,
yeah.
100% your fault. I should have won this bet. I should not be spinning the wheel.
Thank you, Aljo, for staying down.
I'm not happy about it. I'm going to think about Aljo every bit of the time that I'm paying this bet off. So here we go.
That's funny, man.
Shake, 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 shake.
The fucking frozen lake challenge.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Oh, is that funny, Ben?
Time for me to start looking at the Weather Channel.
Is that funny?
Finding you a cold day, buddy.
Oh.
All right, Phil, come on, let's do it.
All right, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Well, Ben, we got to do it twice. I can't believe I got the frozen lake. Do you guys want me to bring it to the? Do you guys trust me, or do you guys want me to?
Oh, I trust you. It's fine.
So there you. It's
okay.
Kind of
Frozen lake. Yeah. All right, that's nice. That's a good one.
That's bullshit for the record. So, but that's neither here nor there. Ben, you ready for this?
Let's do it.
Come on, cool hand loop challenge. Ben with the cinnamon challenge.
Okay, I can do that. That's fine. I can live with that.
That one's brutal.
I can live with that.
Cinnamon
I did that one just to be an idiot one time.
I remember that.
challenge.
Messed my sinuses up for like at least a week.
You were stuffed up and messed up for that.
Oh, my nose was running cinnamon at Toys R Us for a friggin' week.
And then obviously, if you spin twice, you can't get the cinnamon challenge twice. So if it lands on that one, we're spinning the wheel again, just so
Yeah.
we're all clear.
Yeah. Go for it.
You ready for round 2, Ben?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want
Zapped
that.
up.
Eggs are the shake. Eggs are the shake. Come on, baby.
A cool hand loop challenge.
Oh,
That's beautiful.
Look at that
shame,
face.
man. That's a shame.
That's
a shame, man.
That is going to be tremendous.
This
Cinnamon
wheel
and
is my
eggs,
favorite
man.
thing that's ever like happened. Like
Cinnamon and eggs.
in the
what a
time that it's
shame.
spinning, man, I just feel that adrenaline of like a
Yeah.
big bet. I love it.
A
Yeah.
cool hand loop challenge.
Wow.
Maybe you can try to do the cinnamon and the 50 eggs on the same day.
I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
dip
do
the
it.
eggs in cinnamon.
You know, I'm not a. I'm
Do you
not-
like hard-boiled eggs?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
50.
That's ain't bad. I mean, I'm
Oh,
fine
you're
with
gonna be
those.
hurting.
Oh yeah, that's gonna suck.
That was
Yeah.
the one I didn't want, man.
Yeah.
That's gonna suck, man.
Yep. And that is
Wow.
that is the deal that we have made. If anybody fails to complete any of their challenges, you earn yourself another spin of the wheel. So, and we are men of honor. We're going to give it our best. There's no chance Ben eats 4 eggs. He's like, oh, I'm full. I'll spin the wheel again. So,
Yeah.
or we could make it. Oh, we could default to a dealer's choice. Like if you fail to make yours, then me and Russ get to pick something off the wheel for you to do.
Oh
To
boy.
discourage you from bailing on
That
your
makes
efforts.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys want to
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah.
All right, that's what it is. If you fail to live up to your end of the bargain, you are subject to what the other two decide you have to do. Off the wheel.
Wow. All right.
I love this.
Weird. We're coming up with rules for the wheel, like mid, like
After you did your spins
The
and got the
week-
one that
yeah.
seems undoable.
We
do
can
what the hell is this?
it can just be
We
another
lose
spin.
2, and we're making up rules on the spot.
That's
Okay.
Phil's move, man. He drops crazy
No,
stipulations on
no.
you right after you lose the bet. Like he's like, "Oh, you're doing it barefoot, baby. Get
This
out
is
there."
messed up.
I asked if you guys wanted to do that. We don't have to do that. I simply asked.
Yeah,
I
this
didn't
is,
make
that's
the
fine.
rules.
Whatever.
We know your move.
Yeah,
It's-
the shoes thing was clearly discussed ahead of time. You just made a poor choice. That has been documented multiple times.
Yeah.
So you made a bad life decision. You can't blame me for that.
Okay.
So
All right.
it's neither here nor there. So, all righty. Awesome. Well, now that we've spun the wheel and determined our fates, you know, what a better way to wrap up the show. Where could we go from here but down? So we're going to go ahead and wrap up for the day and start planning how we're going to put ourselves through this misery. Thank you guys for joining us as always. Until next time, we will see you guys next week. Enjoy yourselves. We'll see you soon. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you for watching. See you next week.
Cool hand Luke, baby.